All right, well, joining us here in the studio, Sultan Barakat, a professor of public policy at Hamad bin Khalifa University. Thanks for joining us this morning. So we see there that this UN Security Council emergency meeting has been postponed. Nevertheless, the fact that this has been called shows that this is a very serious violation here, certainly for a sovereign country. What do you expect to come out of that meeting, if anything? And do you think there's going to be any resolution to that attack that happened, and perhaps even future attacks?
Well, it all depends on the motion Qatar is going to table. I think the way the world has rallied in support of Qatar is very important, because Qatar does enjoy a lot of good relationships across the globe. That probably has one of the highest number of embassies and diplomatic representation anywhere, probably second to the United States, if not even topping the United States. So they have a really good positioning within the UN system. I think there will be a lot of expression of anger, condemnation, but it's not enough. The Qataris and their allies should really push this opportunity to get the United Nations Security Council resolution with some kind of teeth and a threat for the Israelis. The Israelis need first to take remedy action to address what they've done. This idea of continuous threats, they should be publicly stopped from even considering it. It's not sufficient that Trump whispers in the ears of the Qataris that they will not come again. They should have some kind of decision, even by the Security Council, telling Israel to basically shut up, apologize, best even to pay some compensation, deal with the families of the victims of this attack. This attack, we keep referring to it as the head office of Hamas. It wasn't quiet. There's no head office for Hamas in Doha. This is a housing complex for a number of families that happen to be the Hamas representatives. So many of those guys had their wives, their children with them. We heard one of those children was killed. Their wives, others were injured, etc. So there should be a compensation package, basically, for these victims. And it's not about the money, because Qatar doesn't need money. It is about the principle. It is what the Turkish insisted on when the Israelis attacked their flotilla. Yes, remember that?
Years ago now.
They took few dollars. It's not about the dollars. It's about putting Israel in that corner of criminality, of having crossed the line, of having broken the international law. And this is what they need to do to make it right.
And speaking of crossing the line, hearing from Qatar's Prime Minister just yesterday evening, calling it a betrayal, clearly very angry, quite shocked that this could even happen to a mediating country that's trying to put an end to this war. The delay with the Qataris going to the UN Security Council, is that also a message that they are now focused on what the GCC and the regional countries can do together as a priority?
My understanding is that the delay was called for to allow the Prime Minister to represent Qatar in an effort to raise the level of representation. But I personally think they should have gone ahead with the meeting, because whatever the Prime Minister is going to say, his deputy or their ambassador should be able to say, because they read from the same sheet. The meeting should capture the heat of the moment. And this is the nature of United Nations Security Council meetings. The waiting for the Arab states to come to visit Qatar and the Islamic states to meet and so on, maybe risks diluting the issue a little bit, because we have a long history of Arab states gathering and Islamic state gathering, and they could not really come up with any actionable step. I mean, they couldn't, attacking Qatar is not that much, it's not greater than, genocide in Gaza. And they couldn't come up with a united front on the genocide in Gaza. They're not going to do this in relation to Qatar at the moment.
But of course, there's major concern with these regional countries that they could perhaps be next. We'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Sultan Barakat, thank you for joining us here in the studio.